Welcome to LibCast, a series dedicated to exploring current technologies, concepts, and resources of interest to libraries and museums. Today I'm going to take you through a quick tutorial on crowdsourcing and its potential for libraries and museums. We'll start with a brief definition and history of crowdsourcing, and we'll quickly move on to some key examples from libraries and museums that are using crowdsourcing with some amazing results. We'll end with a brief discussion on a few of the issues you should consider when deciding if a crowdsourcing project might work for your library's needs. First, we should start with a definition of crowdsourcing. Webster's Dictionary defines crowdsourcing as the practice of obtaining needs, services, ideas, or content by soliciting contributions from a large group of people, and especially from the online community, rather than from traditional employees or suppliers. Basically, crowdsourcing allows you to break up a larger problem into smaller, more manageable parts, and then distribute those parts across potentially thousands of volunteers. The term crowdsourcing was first coined in a 2006 Wired article. However, the usage of crowdsourcing as a practice actually predates this by at least 150 years. One of the earliest recorded cases was the Smithsonian's Meteorological Project, initiated in 1848 by their first secretary, Joseph Henry. In this project, he took 150 volunteers across the country who submitted monthly weather reports where they were. The reports were then published in an 1861 compilation of climatic data and storm observations. This project is considered to be the precursor to the National Weather Bureau. A few benefits of crowdsourcing include helping to accomplish tasks that a library doesn't have the resources to achieve on their own, improving the quality of data or even creating new collection content, engaging the community by encouraging a sense of ownership for the collections, allowing data to be discoverable in new and interesting ways, and validating the worth of the library by allowing for a high level of public involvement. Perhaps the best way to examine the benefits of library crowdsourcing is to investigate real-life examples in action. Here I will concentrate on three main areas in which crowdsourcing is being used in a library setting: to tag or identify materials, to build upon or even create new data, and to help in text transcription. The first category I'll focus on is that of tagging and identifying materials. One example is found in the Smithsonian Institution's collaboration with Flickr Commons. For this project, the Smithsonian posted a large number of unidentified images from their collection to Flickr Commons, where visitors can help to identify the photos or add keywords and tags to the images. The new tags are then vetted, and selected words are added to the image's metadata to enhance their search function and make images more findable. In addition to the obvious benefit of the tagging and identification enhancements, in at least one case, this crowdsourcing has actually led to new collection materials. For example, Flickr photographs from the Scopes monkey trial posted by the Smithsonian prompted a donation of 10 additional photos by the daughter of a trial attendee. Another example of this type of work is the Brooklyn Museum's collaboration with HistoryPin. HistoryPin allows users to digitally pin media, including images, video, and sound, to the current street grid. The media can then be viewed publicly, either through direct search of the map or through created tours. Many museums and libraries are using HistoryPin to create another access point of engagement between the public and their materials. For instance, the Brooklyn Museum has used crowdsourcing to engage users to geotag photos from their collections so that these can be represented on HistoryPin's map. Other institutions have created virtual tours to take viewers through towns, historic events, or even through changing fads through time. The second category I'll focus on is that of building upon or creating new collection data. A unique use of crowdsourcing to create new content was exemplified by the New York Public Library's Find the Future scavenger hunt. Here, participants were selected from 5,000 applicants based on an online submission process, and winners were invited to spend the night in the library's Schwartzman building, collaborating in an online interactive game. 100 artifacts throughout the library were tagged with QR codes. The group was then split into teams, and they had to locate each artifact within the library. When they found the artifact, they scanned the code using the game app. This pulls up an image of the artifact, relevant details about that artifact, and then a related essay challenge. The goal of the venture was to have 500 essays written by the morning that would then be created into a hand-stitched book signed by all the players and housed at the library in perpetuity. A virtual version of the game is also available on the New York Public Library site, where users can also participate in the scavenger hunt read existing essays, and create new ones on their own. To date, the site has promoted more than 1,400 stories by over 5,500 authors. The final area of benefit I will focus on is that of helping to transcribe text. One example of a successful and well-designed text transcription project is Old Weather, a collaboration among a number of archives and historic institutions in the United Kingdom. The goal of Old Weather is to transcribe weather observations made by Royal Navy ships near the time of World War I, to be used to create climate model projections and improve a database of historic weather extremes. In this project, participants choose which of the 238 vessels involved they will join and begin work on transcribing the ship's weather logs. Ranks are assigned based on the contributions made to a particular ship's voyage. The more you do, the higher rank you'll achieve. However, as their website mentions, don't fall asleep or you might be overtaken by others. Since their launch in October 2010, the project has received incredible results, with more than 1 million pages already completely transcribed and logs from 305 vessels completed. Another practical application of crowdsourcing includes fast code design. This was a project through which designs for a new public library in Surrey, British Columbia were crowdsourced through the use of Facebook and Twitter. The library's resulting design seeks to address both the community's particular needs and the need for libraries to address the way we work today. Within the library, there are plenty of private study areas, computer classrooms, a meditation room, and a teen lounge and gaming areas, as well as a grand center atrium and a 150-person multi-purpose room. Other interesting examples of crowdsourcing within libraries include LibAnswers, a social reference tool where more frequently asked questions are ranked by number of inquiries, appearing larger than less used questions. You can see an example here. And projects undertaken by both the Amsterdam City Archives and the National Archives of Australia, in which researchers are charged for requesting scanned documents, and then these scans are made available to other researchers online. In this way, the libraries are able to add to their digital collections without the expense of a separate digital scanning project. Despite the many benefits of crowdsourcing, there are some challenges that must be considered before deciding to implement a crowdsourcing project for a library or museum. I'll discuss a few of these over the next few slides. One of the main challenges of crowdsourcing is finding ways to maintain the interest of the public. One way to do this is to appeal to the human desire for rewards and positive feedback. A great example of this is Digital Coot, a project initiated by the National Library of Finland with the aim to help digitize their national archives by correcting errors made by OCR when they were scanned. As you can see here, in Digital Coot, users must face challenges such as writing incorrected words to create a bridge and cross the moat, or identifying words correctly to dig out of a garden. Successful efforts result in obtaining high scores and level achievements, and the game is actually more fun for users than it is work. The project has been a great success, as a crowd of more than 110,000 volunteers willingly invested thousands of hours of their time to complete over 8 million word-fixing tasks. Notably, the project also achieved a staggering 99% accuracy rate. You can learn more about how the game design works by searching YouTube for How to Play Mole Bridge or for How to Play Mole Hunt. One of the primary concerns many libraries have about crowdsourcing projects is that of introducing errors into the data. One recent project that combated these issues is the Australian Newspapers Digitisation Program, a collaborative program to digitize historic Australian newspapers. In this project, they had two main concerns: vandalism and unintentional issues caused by users who were unfamiliar with the interface. They tackled the issue of vandalism by ensuring that end users of the database are always able to view the original scanned image of the text. They also prepared to roll back to the original OCR text if vandalism was detected, and made login mandatory for all participants. The concern of users who might not understand the concept of text correction was combated by using terminology the public was likely to understand. For example, saying electronically created text instead of OCR. They also ensured that the user interface was straightforward and provided technical help for anyone who might need it. The project was ultimately a huge success, with over 2 million lines of text and more than 100,000 articles transcribed in the first 6 months, and there were no cases of vandalism during this time period. Another, and perhaps one of the most important considerations for a crowdsourcing project, is that of design and technology concerns. Here is a comparison of two crowdsourcing transcription projects. On the left is the New York Public Library's Rare Book Collection Menu Transcription Project. Here, users attempt to transcribe a portion of the library's menus dating from the 1840s to the present. The project has been incredibly successful, with more than 1.2 million dishes already transcribed from nearly 17,000 menus. And over time, the user interface has been improved to be more user-friendly. Here's a screenshot of an earlier iteration. In this version, I made 3 separate attempts to transcribe one of their menu items. In each, the arrow indicating which item to transcribe was actually covering the first few words of the item itself. I tested the system again this week, and this error seems to have been corrected. The system now uses smaller portions of text to enhance clarity, and the arrow indicating which line to transcribe no longer covers the text itself. Another example of a project with a very user-friendly design is Ancient Lives, a crowdsourcing project to help translate ancient papyri from the collection of the Egypt Exploration Society. Users of this project are first greeted with an interactive tutorial that explains the translation process. They are then given a chance to try out their skills on actual papyri. The process is remarkably straightforward. Users first select the center point of a letter on the papyrus, then they select the matching letter on a keyboard of ancient letters. They can also zoom in and out of the scraps or rotate them to get a better view. Additionally, as papyrus scraps are kept at small sizes, users quickly have a feeling of satisfaction as their completed scraps build up. Time and resources can also become a severe limitation for libraries considering the use of crowdsourcing projects. Tackling an OCR rekeying project, for example, with just a small in-house staff may prove an insurmountable obstacle. However, there are many options for libraries to collaborate with other institutions or companies on their crowdsourcing projects. Flickr Commons, mentioned earlier, provides one such collaborative offering that is particularly useful for libraries undertaking tagging or photo identifying projects. Clickorger.com is another option. Here, libraries can prize out projects to be undertaken by their community of more than 115,000 individuals. This method of fee-based crowdsourcing may provide a good solution for time-sensitive projects, or those where resources to implement a crowdsourcing project in-house are limited. The George Eastman House, for example, has a current project to help catalog and tag over 400,000 of their images. This partnership has the added benefit of allowing the option to crowdsource in several languages, a position that is ideal for their internationally focused collections. Perhaps the final consideration when deciding on a crowdsourcing project is what to actually do with all the information gathered. As director of New York Public Library Labs, Ben Vershbow explains, in asking for the public's help, we are making an implicit promise to create something useful and interesting with it. While a large commitment, this is actually a very exciting part of the crowdsourcing project. With the Menus project, for example, Vershbow mentioned that this type of data has provided all sorts of surprise uses. For example, one author used the collection's information to produce a culinary history of New York, and a marine biologist scoured seafood menus to study fish populations. Additionally, increasing the visibility of the collection through this type of project has opened up numerous doors for new applications of historical information. As we've seen, crowdsourcing can serve as an incredible tool for libraries, aiding in collection building, in assisting the digitization process for special collections, and in many other areas of significance to the library. Crowdsourcing can be a very cost-efficient way to accomplish goals not attainable by the library's own limited staff, and provides the added benefit of increased patron engagement and providing them a sense of ownership in the library's collection materials. However, as with any major project, a library crowdsourcing project should not be jumped into without a great degree of planning and preparation. Consideration must be made for user-friendly design, for maintaining user engagement, for protecting the data from errors, and making the best use of limited time and resources. If all of these steps are taken properly, as we have seen in many of these case studies, some amazing results, both in the collection and in the library community itself, can be achieved. In a future LibCast, I'll explore more of the innovative crowdsourcing projects currently being undertaken by libraries and museums around the world. In the meantime, I welcome any recommendations you might have about projects I should highlight. For more information about crowdsourcing or any of the projects highlighted here, visit sjmccarthy.com and search for the term crowdsourcing. Thank you for joining me in this session of LibCast.